So now listen, you got to hear me closely because this right here might change how you see everything. When somebody hurts you, when they lie on you, betray you, walk away like you meant nothing, your first instinct is to react. Your chest tightens, your mind races, and everything inside you says, say something, do something, get even. But let me tell you something real. The moment you react out of pain, you lose control of your power. See, the strongest move you can make ain't loud. It ain't emotional. It ain't revenge. It's calm. Yeah, I said it, calm. Because calm is not weakness. Calm is mastery. You got to understand this. Anybody can lose control. Anybody can snap, yell, argue, post, expose. That don't take strength. That takes impulse. But to sit there when your heart is breaking and still choose peace, that's power. That's growth. That's a different level of you. See, when somebody hurts you, they're revealing who they are, not defining who you are. And too many people spend their lives trying to prove their worth to someone who already showed they don't recognize it. Why are you arguing with somebody who already decided to misunderstand you? Why are you trying to explain your value to somebody who couldn't see it when you gave them your all? That ain't your assignment. Your assignment is to protect your peace. Listen to me. You don't win by getting louder. You don't win by getting even. You win by getting still. Because when you get still, you start to hear something deeper. You start to realize that maybe, just maybe, that pain wasn't sent to destroy you. It was sent to redirect you. You thought they were your blessing, but they were actually your lesson. And the moment you stop chasing closure from them is the moment you start receiving clarity from above. See, closure ain't something they give you. Closure is something you decide. It's the moment you say, I don't need another explanation. I don't need another apology. I don't need to understand why you did what you did. I just need to move forward. That's closure. And let me tell you something else. Holding on to anger is expensive. It costs you your sleep. It costs you your focus. It costs you your joy. And the person who hurt you, they ain't losing no sleep over it. So why are you carrying something that ain't even affecting them? You got to learn how to put that weight down. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. You got to detach. And I know that word sounds cold to some people. Detach? You mean stop caring? No. I mean care differently. I mean stop investing your emotions into something that's already shown you it can't return the value. That ain't cold. That's wisdom. Because every time you go back and replay what happened, every time you imagine what you should have said, every time you stalk, check, wonder, you reopening a wound that was trying to heal, let it go. Let it go. Not because it didn't hurt, but because it did. And you deserve peace beyond it. Let me tell you something powerful. Your silence is not your weakness. Your silence is your strategy. Because while they're expecting a reaction, you're working on your elevation. While they're stuck in who they've always been, you're becoming who you're supposed to be. And one day, they're going to look back. They're going to remember how they treated you. They realize what they lost. But by that time, you won't even feel it anymore because you've grown past the version of you that needed them. That's the real win. Not getting revenge, not proving them wrong, but becoming so whole, so grounded, so aligned that what they did no longer has power over you. That's how you win. You don't fight back. You rise up. You don't chase closure. You create peace. And you don't let pain define you. You let it redefine. Calmness is often misunderstood because people think if you're quiet, you're weak, or if you don't react, you don't care. But the truth is, staying calm when everything inside you wants to explode is one of the highest forms of power you can possess. It means you have control over yourself, not the situation controlling you. Anybody can raise their voice, lose their temper, or act out of emotion. That's easy. What's difficult is holding your ground, managing your emotions, and choosing your response instead of being driven by impulse. When you stay calm, you give yourself the ability to think clearly. You're not reacting out of hurt, anger, or ego. You're responding with intention. That's where real strength lies. Because once you react emotionally, You often say things you can't take back or make decisions that pull you further away from your purpose. Calmness creates space between what happens to you and how you choose to handle it. It also sends a message without words. It shows that you're not easily shaken, that your peace is protected, and that your self-control is stronger than any external chaos. People expect reactions. They don't expect composure. And that composure shifts the entire dynamic. It puts you in a position of authority over your emotions, and that's something no one can take from you. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop allowing your feelings to control your direction. It's the ability to step back and say, this hurt me, but it will not define me. When you stay emotionally attached to pain, you keep reliving it. You replay the words, the moment, the betrayal over and over again. And without realizing it, you give that experience power over your future. Detachment breaks that cycle. Your purpose requires focus, clarity, and energy, but pain, when held on to, drains all three. It distracts you, slows you down, and pulls you into a space where growth becomes difficult. Emotional detachment is how you protect what's been assigned to your life. It's choosing not to let one person's actions interfere with your destiny. That's strength. Not pretending it didn't hurt, but refusing to let it stop you. When you detach, you begin to see things differently. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift is powerful. It moves you from a place of victimhood to a place of awareness and control. You're no longer stuck in the emotion. You're learning from it. And once you learn from it, you can release it, because your future doesn't need your past pain to survive. It needs your discipline, your vision, and your peace. When someone hurts you, it's important to understand that their actions reveal more about them than about you. People often take pain personally, as if someone else's behavior is a direct reflection of their worth. But the truth is, the way someone treats you is a mirror of their character, their struggles, their insecurities, and their choices. Not a measurement of your value. Just because someone chooses to lie, betray, or dismiss you doesn't mean you're less than. It simply shows what they are willing or unwilling to be. Too many people get trapped trying to prove themselves to someone who never had the capacity to recognize their worth in the first place. You don't have to convince anyone of your value. Your purpose, your integrity, and your peace are enough to define who you are. When you internalize this truth, you stop letting the actions of others dictate your emotions or shake your confidence. You begin to see their hurtful words and behaviors as their problem, not yours. This perspective also protects your spirit. When you realize someone's actions reflect their level of awareness, you stop carrying unnecessary anger, resentment, or self-doubt. Instead of asking why they did what they did, you learn to release it without needing validation or justification. Understanding this allows you to maintain dignity, stay grounded, and keep moving forward on your path without allowing someone else's flaws to derail your journey. Silence and restraint are often underestimated, but they are some of the most powerful tools you can possess when you've been hurt. People think that to be strong, you have to react immediately, to speak your mind, to defend yourself. But in reality, the ability to pause, to hold back, and to remain quiet in the face of provocation shows a level of strength that few truly understand. When you respond impulsively, you give away your power. You allow your emotions to drive your decisions. And too often, that leads to regret, broken relationships, or actions that pull you further away from your purpose. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're weak or passive. It means you are in control. It means you are not letting temporary anger, frustration, or disappointment dictate your actions. Restraint is the proof of emotional intelligence, the sign that you value your peace and your future more than winning an argument or proving a point in the moment. Moreover, silence communicates more than words ever could. When someone expects a reaction and doesn't get it, they start to realize that your energy is not theirs to manipulate. Your composure becomes a statement. You will not be shaken by their attempts to control or hurt you. And while they may try to provoke, your calm and measured response, or lack thereof, demonstrates that true power isn't loud, it's steady, it's deliberate, and it's unshakable. Healing begins the moment you stop seeking closure, from the one who caused your pain. Too often people think they need an apology, an explanation, or some form of acknowledgement to move on. They wait for the person who hurt them to validate their feelings, to make things right, or to show remorse. But the truth is, closure doesn't come from anyone else. It comes from within you. Waiting for someone else to provide it keeps you tied to the very source of your hurt, keeping the wound fresh and your energy trapped in the past. When you stop needing that external validation, you reclaim your power. You recognize that your peace, your growth, and your happiness are your responsibility, not theirs. Healing is not about forgetting what happened, and it's not about pretending the pain didn't exist. It's about choosing not to let it define your present or dictate your future. You acknowledge it, learn from it, and then release it. This shift is transformative. Once you accept that closure is an internal process, you stop replaying the past and redirect your focus to what truly matters: your purpose, your relationships that uplift you, and the life you are building. Every time you dwell on the hurt, you give it more control. But when you choose to heal on your own terms, you break free from the chains of resentment, anger, and confusion, and you create space for clarity, growth, and peace that no one can take away. Your peace is more valuable than proving a point, and learning to protect it is one of the greatest lessons you can ever embrace. Too often, when someone hurts us or challenges us, our first instinct is to argue, defend ourselves, or make sure they understand that they were wrong. But in doing so, we give away something far more precious than being right: our inner calm. Every minute you spend trying to prove someone wrong, every ounce of energy you use to justify yourself, takes away from the serenity and focus you need to move forward in life. Peace is not passive. It is active strength. It is the quiet confidence that says, I am secure in who I am, and I will not let someone else's actions disturb me. Protecting your peace means choosing not to engage in battles that don't serve you, choosing not to argue with someone who has already made up their mind, and refusing to let anger or resentment take root in your heart. When you value peace over proving a point, you elevate yourself. You rise above petty conflicts and maintain control over your emotions. You stop reacting out of pride or ego and instead respond with clarity and wisdom. Others may try to provoke you, to draw you into chaos. But when your peace is your priority, you remain unshakable. That calm, steady energy becomes magnetic, draws opportunities, and aligns you with the life and purpose you were meant to fulfill. Letting go is often misunderstood as giving up, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful acts of self-mastery and wisdom you can practice. Holding on to someone who has hurt you, to anger, resentment, or disappointment, keeps you tethered to a moment that no longer serves your growth. Every time you replay the pain in your mind, every time you dwell on what should have been, you give it space in your life that could be filled with clarity, purpose, and peace. Letting go is not losing. It is making room for something greater to enter your life. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for opportunities, blessings, and connections that are aligned with your true purpose. Pain can often feel like a punishment, but if you step back and see it through the lens of divine wisdom, it is usually a redirection. What hurt you may have been a sign, a guide, or a necessary lesson to prepare you for what is ahead. Clinging to the past only delays the future that is waiting for you. Letting go requires courage and self-respect. It is saying, I refuse to let this define me. I will not carry this weight any longer. It is an act of faith, trusting that the universe, life, or a higher power has a plan for you that is bigger than the pain you've experienced. True strength is not measured by what you hold on to, but by what you have the wisdom and courage to release. Pain is rarely just pain. It is often a messenger, a signal, or a guide pointing you toward growth, transformation, and a higher purpose. When someone hurts you, it can feel like life is punishing you, like the world is unfair and that you've been singled out for suffering. But if you take a step back and look deeper, you begin to realize that pain is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to redirect you. It nudges you away from what is no longer meant for your life and toward what you are truly capable of becoming. Every wound, every betrayal, and every disappointment carries a lesson. The challenge is learning how to listen rather than react. When you react in anger, frustration, or fear, you miss the message. Pain becomes a teacher only when you pause, reflect, and allow it to show you what you need to see. Often, the people who hurt you are simply part of a necessary experience designed to shape your resilience, your discernment, and your inner strength. Understanding pain in this way changes everything. You no longer see it as an enemy, but as a guide. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift transforms hurt into wisdom, disappointment into clarity, and suffering into growth. Pain loses its power over you because you realize it is temporary, purposeful, and ultimately part of the journey toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Self-control is one of the highest forms of self-respect, yet it is often overlooked in a world that celebrates impulsive reactions and quick wins. True self-control is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel pain. It is about choosing how you respond to life, especially when circumstances push you to your limits. When someone hurts you, when betrayal cuts deep, or when disappointment threatens to consume you, the instinct is to lash out, argue, or seek revenge. But the ability to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully is a demonstration of inner strength that no one can take away. Practicing self-control shows that your life is guided by purpose rather than by reaction. It allows you to protect your peace, maintain your dignity, and stay aligned with your goals. When you control your impulses, you stop giving power to the people or situations that seek to destabilize you. You begin to see clearly, think strategically, and act with intention rather than emotion. Self-control also communicates to others and to yourself that you value your worth and will not allow external forces to dictate your behavior. It builds confidence, commands respect, and sets the standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. The strongest people aren't those who react the fastest. They're the ones who respond with clarity, patience, and wisdom. Mastery over your emotions becomes a shield, a weapon, and a key to unlocking the life you were meant to lead. The real win is not about revenge, proving someone wrong, or even receiving an apology. It is about rising above what tried to break you and becoming a stronger, wiser, and more grounded version of yourself. Too many people measure success by external validation, by whether others recognize their pain or regret their actions. But the highest form of victory comes from within. It comes from maintaining your dignity, protecting your peace, and refusing to let someone else's choices dictate the course of your life. When someone hurts you, they may believe they have the power to control your emotions or disrupt your path. The truth is they only have the power you give them. The real win is in reclaiming that power and choosing to respond differently. It is in learning from the experience, letting go of the resentment, and using the pain as a stepping stone toward personal growth. You transform what was meant to wound you into a tool that strengthens your character and sharpens your discernment. This type of victory requires patience, self-awareness, and emotional mastery. It is quiet, yet profound. It doesn't need an audience, applause, or acknowledgement. When you rise above hurt and refuse to let it define you, you achieve a level of freedom that cannot be taken away. You walk forward with clarity, confidence, and purpose, proving to yourself, and only yourself, that your strength, peace, and life are far greater than any act of betrayal or pain. That is the true definition of winning. Remember this, you will not always control what others do, what they say, or how they choose to treat you, but you will always control how you respond. The moment you rise above the pain, refuse to react impulsively, and protect your peace, you step into a power that can't be shaken. True victory is not in revenge or in proving someone wrong. It is in becoming unshakable, in letting hurt refine you rather than define you, and in walking forward with purpose, clarity, and dignity. Your strength lies not in what you fight against, but in what you rise above. Guard your heart, honor your journey, and know this: the calm, steady, unmovable you is the greatest win anyone could ever witness.